So I want to talk about our emergency and evacuation procedures
Right.
so that we all are on the same page if we have an emergency or we need to evacuate the building, okay? So if we're all on the same page and we all know what our role is in any situation, hopefully it'll just make things a little smoother for all of us, okay? And help the clients feel safer and better. So some of the general information I provided here is we do have equipment and training for clients and for personnel for fire detection, which is kind of what we're doing now, warning of fire hazard, suppression of fires. All right, emergency contact information for personnel is located in the personnel files in Bamboo if we needed to get a hold of someone. And there is emergency contact information for clients located within their client record in Aliva. All right. In case of a medical emergency, we would contact 911.
Right.
Okay.
I'm not ignoring you. I'm signing this thing.
You're fine.
This thing that you sent in Bamboo.
Yeah, it's exactly what we're going over right now.
Okay.
Yes, that's what this
And that's
is.
what I was going to ask you about. Where I get this information from now? I see.
Yes.
Everybody's gonna sign off.
Yeah.
We're
Right.
sending in Bamboo.
Okay, so first aid kits are readily available. You guys know where they're located, in the bedroom and then in the front closet by the
Yes.
desk, okay? I do my best to keep them replenished. So if you notice things are running low, just let me know. I do monthly inspections, but sometimes I run out of, stuff
Yes,
for them,
ma'am.
okay? Review the location contents use. We let new staff know where everything's located, and I do inventory and replenish on a regular basis, and all of our staff members are trained in first aid and CPR.
Okay.
Okay. Emergency equipment. We do have emergency equipment in the building. We have fire extinguishers and as you know, first aid kits. The locations for the fire extinguishers are located on the egress maps in red. If you look over there, you'll see them. All right. So if you need to know where a fire extinguisher is, that's where they are. But when you're walking through the building, just observe so that you know where they are. Okay. Employees are trained in using fire extinguishers, and I'll explain that a little bit here. And then all fire extinguishers are recharged annually. So if you ever use one, even a little squeeze, I need to know about it, and we don't want to hang it back up on the wall. We want to let me know so I can have Fire X come and recharge that for us, okay? Fire doors. I know they're a pain in the butt, and we used to prop them open, but we can't do that anymore. Fire doors are what keeps the fire from spreading throughout the building. So the more we can contain the fire, the less damage we have. And we want to minimize the damage with any type of disaster. So our fire doors have to remain closed. I did give Justin permission to prop the kitchen and the dining room door open while he's here. But then when he leaves, he has to close them. Okay, and I am getting an air conditioner for the kitchen, so that will help, and he won't have to keep those doors open any longer. But we never want to block and hold those doors open. We want to keep those exits clear at all times, and if a door is not closing properly, it has to close in 20 seconds, and they are pretty sticklers about that. They'll go around to every door and open it and let it close. So if you notice a door is not closing properly, let me know so that I can address that, okay? And I have a really great contractor who comes, all right? But just remember, our exits are a means of escape, okay? And that's where our fire doors come in.
All the fire doors are the black doors.
Every door in here is a fire door,
Except
except for this door right here. That's the only one I noticed that's not a fire door. Okay, and some of them are 40-minute fire doors, some of them are 20, some of them are 90, okay? They're all different over the years, and I think they cost differently too, but they're fire doors. Our best defense against a small fire is using a fire extinguisher, all right? But it has to be the right type for the right type of fire, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that. They shouldn't be removed from the location unless we're using them or we need them for a drill, okay? If you see a missing fire extinguisher, and you'll see the mounts throughout the building, the little metal hooks that they go on, if you see something missing, let me know so I can deal with that. We don't want to put it back in its location if we've used it. And if you don't think that the fire can be contained with one fire extinguisher, then get out of the building and get people out, okay? do your due diligence there. So here's the different fire extinguishers, the types. We deal with A, B, and C and type K. So throughout the building, you're gonna see the red fire extinguishers. They are A, B, and C fire extinguishers, and they say that on the fire extinguisher. And they're usually for like paper and wood, flammable gases, maybe some electrical equipment, you know, if an outlet's burning or something like that. But that's what those are for. There is one in the kitchen, and it's a big silver one. It looks very different than the other ones, okay? And that's a type K. That's a wet one for chemical. I had an instance where we had a kitchen fire, and somebody took the fire extinguisher, came all the way down the hallway and took the fire extinguisher that's right outside this room and went into the kitchen and was gonna use it on a stove fire, when we should have grabbed the wet chemical one that's actually in the kitchen and used that one. But then they left the fire extinguisher on the floor in the kitchen too,
I
and
know, I
never
was
put
here
it
for the
back.
oven fire.
So I just want to make sure that we're putting
No,
things
no.
back where they go, and you know where the fire extinguishers
Yes,
are. So
ma'am.
anything dealing with the kitchen, go to that type K wet chemical one,
Yes.
okay?
Mhm.
Okay. So here's the locations of the fire extinguishers. I'm not gonna read through them, but you can see we have a lot of fire extinguishers available. A lot on the first floor, several on the second, and there's one even up by Mary's office outside her door for the attic, okay? And we also have fire alarm pull stations throughout the building, and most of them are near where the fire extinguisher is. But if you do see an emergency happening and we need to evacuate the building, all you have to do is flip that pull station thing, and it sounds the alarms over the entire building, and then it alerts everybody that there's an incident and we need to evacuate. That's what that cue is when we hear that noise, okay? So, you know, some of the basic things that we learn about fire extinguishers is, you know, if it's spreading beyond the immediate area, or if it's already a large fire, don't use a fire extinguisher, just get out. If it blocks your escape route, or it could block your escape route, or it's beginning to block your escape route, get out. If you're not sure how to use a fire extinguisher, you know, you might just want to get out and let the fire department handle it when they get here. And if you're not sure the fire extinguisher is the right type for the fire, or it's too large to fight the fire, you're not going to want to use that fire extinguisher. But to use a fire extinguisher, we use the pass method, okay? It's pretty easy. You pull the pin, you aim the nozzle at the base of the fire, and then you squeeze the handle and you sweep from side to side. And you're doing the base of the fire, not the flames up in the air, okay? You want to get to that base of the fire where it's coming from. Okay, so some things to remember is keep near your door so you have an escape. Stay out of closets and small attics. Stay low because heat and smoke rise, and if you stay low, you might be a little safer. And we only want to ventilate the area after the fire is out because oxygen causes fire to ignite. Okay, so that's what the reason for the fire doors all being closed, all right, and windows being closed when we do a drill and things like that. If the fire can't be contained and becomes uncontrollable, blocks your escape route, you want to get out immediately, okay? All right, so in the event of a fire and it can't be put out with a fire extinguisher, we implement what we call the RACE procedure, okay? R is for rescue and removing clients and staff from the immediate area. So we're rescue and removing first. That's our first course of action, okay? So we're rescuing clients and victims from the fire area. We're closing the door. We're not opening the door again. Once we close that door, we're letting the executive director or the program coordinator know that there's a fire, and then the program coordinator and front desk staff will immediately notify others in the area, okay? The A in RACE stands for alarm, all right? That's when we sound the alarm. So we would pull that pull station and make that alarm go off. Did that update for me? I think it did. It's front desk, so Venus, you know, Direct Care is responsible for taking your cell phone, the counselor client list, the client and visitor sign-in and out clipboards, and then you evacuate the building. If clinical staff doesn't grab the Aliva iPad, direct care staff needs to grab the Aliva iPad. So one of the biggest things I've noticed in our fire drills is communication with staff. We have to get better at communicating who's gonna do what and when. Okay, so I think that's gonna happen with that communication, and we'll be sure that, and if it doesn't, you know, we can always revise our policy as we do our tests and things like that, and I get feedback. All right, we're gonna provide the emergency dispatcher with the location, the type of fire, how extensive it is, and all that good stuff, so that they have the information they need to respond appropriately. All right, and the C in race is for confine. So we want to confine the area. We want to close all the windows. We want to keep the doors closed until we're advised otherwise. We want to make sure that all the fire and smoke doors are closed and nothing's blocked. Clear the corridors. We want to make sure we have no confidential information on our desks. Okay, everything's put away. And then we evacuate and go across the street. We make sure that we're assisting clients and visitors out of the building, and just be mindful of fire safety, and report unsafe conditions to myself or the executive director. Okay? Now the E in RACE stands for evacuate and extinguish. So that's our disaster containment part, okay? So we're asking, you know, anybody who's a witness to the fire should start evaluating the potential of containing the fire. Like, can we use a fire extinguisher? Is that gonna work? So we start trying to contain things. If the employee determines that the containment effort is unsafe, we're gonna proceed with the evacuation plan. That's when we roll into that. And the staff person who arrives first at the designated evacuation point will take the head count, and that's probably going to be the direct care person, since they're grabbing all the documents off that front desk. Okay? So if you're the person who found the fire, make sure that you pull the fire alarm, close all the windows and doors in that area, because we want to contain the fire, and then we want to follow either the RACE evacuation or do our pass with the fire extinguisher. Okay? And when the alarm sounds, staff goes to the assigned area, and then we and at the same time evacuate clients to the area, and we take roll call. Okay? Supervisors are responsible to make sure that their staff is safe, and reporting everything to the person who's taking roll call. And then staff, which is me, I will email a summary of the problems that we had during that, and how we can improve and that kind of thing. Okay? So basically, you know, an overview to make it look simple for you. During the day from 8 to 4:30, when day staff is here, we have more people to manage that emergency. So clinical staff would close all office doors, help clear the first floor and pre-trans areas, and then retrieve the Aliva iPad. And I did update this, so it just didn't update on my thing. They will also direct clients and staff and visitors to the roll call location across the street. Okay? Direct care's job during the day shift is to clear client bedrooms and bathrooms, so they'll sweep that residential part. They collect the client and visitor sign-in and sign-out sheets, the client and counselor list, and then they'll direct clients across the street. Okay? My job is just to help clear pre-transitional housing, and then I go in and check the location of the alarm on the fire alarm box and call the fire department. Okay? So things are a little bit more hectic for the direct care staff after 4:30 and on weekends, because you're really the only staff here. So it's imperative that you guys are really, really quick to respond, because you have a big house to cover by yourself. And you want to clear all the client bedrooms and bathrooms, the downstairs kitchen, dining room, all the rooms in the house, and then go check pre-transitional housing and get everybody out, okay? You'll retrieve the same thing. You'll retrieve the client counselor list, the visitor and client sign-in and out logs, and the Aliva iPad, and take that with you across the street. Okay, and then you'll take your roll call, and you'll contact me or Kylie and do an incident report. Because whenever there's an incident in the building, whether it's any type of emergency, we want to do an incident report in Aliva. Okay? So fire emergency procedures, we pull the nearest pull station, we inform staff, and everybody that there's a fire, all right? We find a person who can fight the fire, if we can use the fire extinguisher. If not, our job is to retrieve those logs, the iPad, and take everybody across the street to do our roll call. And any staff doing the evacuation will be the last person to leave, check all the rooms, close all the doors, and make sure that no one is left behind, okay? So all areas prepare for the evacuation by primary evacuation route using the evacuation procedure. So we look at our egress map and it'll tell you the quickest way to get out of the building. Under no circumstances should we be allowing anyone to enter the building once the evacuation begins. So if somebody says, oh, I left my favorite blanket on my bed, they can't go back upstairs and get it, okay? Once they leave the building, they're out of the building and no one goes back in until the fire department tells us it's safe to do so, okay? And that's basically the gist of that. All staff should be working together to make sure that everyone has completely evacuated the building, and be aware of those primary and secondary routes, because we have a back door, we have a side door for a pre-trans area, so if apartment C downstairs or someone's in the wellness center, they can come right out and go out that emergency door on the side. Once the alarms go off, it opens up all our emergency doors. Okay, so no door is not accessible. Every single door unlocks so you can get out of the building. It's designed to be that way, okay? So you don't have to worry about someone, making a door alarm go off, all right? It doesn't work that way. And then we need to remain calm, because if we don't, our clients aren't gonna be calm either, and then that just creates another big mess, okay? So fire prevention hazards, it's important that we all work together to prevent fires here in the house. It's everyone's responsibility. So if you see any fire hazardous conditions, some of these things that I've listed here, then let me know so I can address them as quickly as possible so we can minimize that from happening. Okay, so that's fire safety. So I'm going to talk a little bit about utility failures, like water and gas, and even the sewer mess that we had on Palm Sunday. But there are shut-off knobs under the toilets and the sinks in the bathrooms. So if you notice something leaking or not working right, you can turn off those knobs to keep access to the for water. And then damage could be minimal compared to what it could be. And if you do that, just shoot me an email and say, Kim, toilet in bathroom C is clogged and overflowing. I cleaned up the mess, but I did turn the water off. And then I'll know, okay? If we have a power outage, it's important to make sure that we're turning off our lights, unplugging our computers, and things like that, because if there's a power surge, that could cause things to fry, and then we won't have access to those electronics that we need. If the evacuation is implemented, we go across the street. If you smell gas, let me know. We did have a gas leak in the med room. Diane let me know that she smelled gas in there, and I kind of dismissed it the first time. But the second time she said something, I called the gas guy, and he said we had a very, very small leak, but we didn't smell it all the time because the minute she opened the door, it was enough air to circulate. So it wasn't dangerous for us, but it's still a gas leak, and it's not cool. So if you smell gas, let me know so I can address that. And we don't want anyone smoking in the house, and we always want to complete an incident report when there's
I was here when we had the gas thing. I called the fire department.
You did?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then we had to call the Columbia Gas to come in, so that was not good at all, and I dismissed it. So anyway, live and learn. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about medical emergencies. We all kind of know what they are. We've dealt with them before here. But we don't want to move the person or do any of that when people are injured. So the procedures involved in that are as soon as the injury or the situation occurs, we need to first provide medical care and basic life support if we need to, but we don't want to move the person or transport them until the emergency personnel tell us that it's okay. So if someone trips and falls down the stairs, we want to leave them where they're at. Unless they say, I don't want medical help and I'm okay, and they get up and they're okay, they can deny medical help. So we're all certified in CPR and first aid. And some of the procedures that we have for administering medical treatment is, calling 911, filling out a critical incident form, and if you're the first member, staff member who sees the situation, then you're the one in charge and kind of managing through that. Okay? We want to limit the number of people rendering care for that person. We don't want a lot of people around.
Nice.
So we need a staff member to say, hey guys, it's okay. The medical personnel's coming. We got it handled, and get everybody away from the area, because the more people that are around, the more stressful it can be. We want to make sure we're recording those events, and we're notifying the appropriate personnel if we need to. And persons who cannot be treated at the facility will be transported to the nearest facility by ambulance if they need that. Okay? We want to document those incidents chronologically, document them, and how we responded. Okay, what we did to take care of that problem. And any medical emergency resulting from serious suicide attempt or an aggravated assault situation, senior staff member will call 911, ask for police and ambulance, and seal off the incident and maintain contents of area untouched. Okay? We never want to rearrange or clean anything up. We don't want to move anything. We want to leave everything as it is until the police come and do their investigation. Okay? And then, of course, we do a critical incident report for that. Okay? Hopefully we'll never have to see that.
Real.
All right? We can have some natural disasters and severe weather in the area. We've had an earthquake here. I can't remember when, but I remember it happening. We've had tornadoes before, so things could happen. But if we do have a severe weather alert, or we know that there's a tornado coming, we want to close all our office doors and windows if we decide to evacuate. If it's an earthquake or a tornado, we don't want to evacuate. We want to stay in the building, and we want to go to rooms without windows. We want to, or take cover under furniture. And if you do end up being covered by debris, they say not to kick and scream and move stuff around, because when you're kicking, you're moving stuff around, and that creates dust, and then you're screaming and you're inhaling all that dust. So they tell you to cover your mouth with your clothing and then bang on furniture or a wall until somebody comes and helps. Yeah, exactly. And if someone injured, we call 911, and what do we fill out when we're all done? An incident report. Okay? We love incident reports. So we can have situations where we have disruptive visitors. If that does happen and you notice somebody's loud, disruptive, they're threatening to hurt other people, it's important that we act on that quickly. The executive director or someone in charge here needs to be notified, and then we can escort that client or visitor to that office, and we would leave the door open till we have witnesses to attest to what happened in that conversation. But there are de-escalation procedures that we can intervene by doing. Call other staff to help us maintain safety, call 911 if we feel like we're going to be physically assaulted in any way, and then clients who are discharged and removed from the program because of aggressive behavior will be provided with a follow-up and referral to another place within 72 hours of their post-discharge. All right, and then we want to do an incident report. Okay? Robbery and active assailant. They say if we do have a robbery or an active assailant in the building, we want to be calm, follow the instructions of the robber, do what they tell us, but at the same time, we want to observe like those identifying features that are going to help the police catch that person if they were to get away. You know, do they have any scars, tattoos? What's the color of their eyes, their hair? What are they wearing? As much information as we can gather. And then when the robber leaves and we get a chance, we call 911. If there's an active assailant in the building, we should lock our doors if we have a lock. If we don't have a lock, we barricade ourselves in that room, okay? And turn off the lights, the computer, silence your phone, don't even have it on vibrate, they said, okay? Because you don't want the person to know you're hiding somewhere. And then bomb threats and suspicious packages. Most bomb threats are called in through the main line. So they would call into the main number. Diane would most likely get that, or you would, Venus is a direct care person. But we would want to definitely call the police and the fire department if we were to get a bomb threat. And we never want to touch a suspicious package if we suspect that it's a bomb or something that could hurt us. And some of the characteristics for a bomb threat or a suspicious package might be like the cut and pasting lettering that you see in the movies, strange odor, they might have a lot of wires in there, excessive postage. It might just look like a weird package, it might even smell funny. But if you see packages like that, that's when we want to just alert the police and have them come and check it out. Better safe than sorry, you know? So you want to try to remain calm. Maybe we can try to obtain from the caller where the bomb is planted. There is a bomb checklist that I'll be putting at everybody's phone. It should be posted by every single phone in the building. So I'm going to be taking care of that and updating that for us. And again, like I said, you know, you're looking for those special characteristics to help identify that person. You're going to call 911. You inform staff to turn off everybody's cell phones. And then until we know that the device is harmless, you know, we don't let anybody back in the building or around that area, okay? And then we complete an incident report. All right, so HAZCOM, I'm gonna go through this a little bit quickly, but basically what HAZCOM is it's your right to know about the chemicals that we use in the building. So if you get a chemical and you're using, you know, the twin oxide to clean the floors and it splatters in your eye, how do you respond to that? Those MSDS sheets will show you how to do that. I'm creating new MSDS sheet notebooks. There'll be 3, one at the front desk, one in the med room, and one in the maintenance room. Okay, but clients also have access to those as well because they're using those chemicals to clean the house too. Okay.
You went up, huh?
Dang it. Okay, so employee responsibilities, you know, just know where to get the information and where those books are. You know, read the labels on the cleaning products so you know what the cautions are that you need to take. Keep your work area clean, use protective gear when it's required. We never want to smoke, eat, or drink around hazardous substances. And make sure you're maintaining safe work habits while you're at work. Okay, labels, there's labels on all the cleaning products, so if you read those, you're going to find a lot of information, and I listed some of that here. And the material safety data sheets, this is a more detailed overview of what is included on that. So, you know, it's like who makes it, what's included, how do they make it, where is it made, how do you handle it if you get it in your eyes or on your skin? You know, what are those first aid procedures? So there's a lot of information those material safety data sheets can provide if we need those. And they are readily available, okay? So some of the security safeguards I wanted to talk about is we do have light streets, you know, building and walkways, and we have the front entrance at night lit up. In the event of evacuation, the exit doors can be utilized front and back, side, wherever, okay? The entire building contains smoke detectors and has an emergency backup lights in the hallways. So if the electricity goes out, we do have emergency lights throughout the building. Some of the administration face safeguards are, the police department and calling 911. We can call the EMS, notify them of a medical emergency, and then the fire department if we need to contact them for a fire explosion or a bomb threat. And then some of the physical safeguards that we have are, you have access to fire extinguishers. All our exits are lit and marked. Our access doors are locked at night, and the storage areas and records rooms are kept closed and locked. Okay, so those are kind of some of our security safeguards that we have already in place. So outside the office, just some things to take with you. Be familiar with the areas in our community that are known for higher crime, where you're not so safe, okay? Make sure that you have your keys out with you when you're walking to your car. Look in the back seat of your car. Make sure nobody's gotten in the back seat of your car. And if you believe you might be in a compromising position and you're nervous about walking to your car, anytime, just ask somebody else to walk you to your car, and I'm sure a staff member would be willing to do that for you. And make sure that the office knows your itinerary, so you will be missed if you don't come back when you say you're going to come back. Okay.
Yep.
Just a little safeguards, and that's it. Can you sign my attendance sheet? I forgot to give that to you.